first started coming to Navos, I was referred by one of the many doctors my daughter and I had been going to after a fear of possible inappropriate touching with my daughter. And I was already going through divorce, therefore I was already actually looking to put her in counseling to make sure that she was going through some normal changes a 3- and 4-year-old would go through. Being a single mom, I didn't know what I was going to do because I had been a stay-at-home mom. So my whole life started over at 36.
Our families in particular face a lot of challenges: poverty, intergenerational trauma, addiction, mental illness themselves, domestic violence. Some of our families have trouble with finding stable housing, and this is a population that hasn't had access to infant mental health services in the past. Those are the kinds of families that come to us for help. They're really looking for us to be able to help them out with what's going on with their children, and they want a better life for those kids.
These families have a lot of needs and they don't have a lot of resources, and often the parents are struggling with their own mental health issues, and so they don't necessarily have the capacity to be able to go out and get these things for themselves.
The minute I walked in, it was a connection with the therapist. My daughter went up, she hugged her, and the therapist was very sweet about, I like hugs too, however, we don't know each other very well. And the very first thing, working on boundaries, when I had had a scare about boundaries for her, made me just solid know that this was it.
At Navos, along with doing the basic work of the mental health field that we're contracted to do, every single department is working on at least one cutting-edge initiative. Mindful Beginnings began as one of those initiatives where we partner with the clients to transform lives.
The primary goal of the Mindful Beginning program is to help parents think about their own internal experiences that they've had across their lifespan and how those experiences influence their parenting and their relationship with their baby.
And so the parents may come to find us because of terrible circumstances or horrible events. Our message to the parents is that you have the capacity to be a wonderful force in raising a very emotionally healthy child. And that may be news to some very discouraged parents, or news to parents who weren't treated that well when they were children.
Everybody needs a support system. I can't talk enough about the importance of being able to have some kind of complete care. Counseling is a part of it, and the therapy is a part of it, but it is all those things that people have to do on a day-to-day basis that sometimes are the things that end up breaking them, I think. And I seem to have my daughter's therapist as a cheerleader on the other line.
We do what's called wraparound services in the field of mental health. For our clients, that might be helping parents get back into the education system. It might be helping them find housing. We deal with CPS, we deal with social workers, we facilitate getting evaluations for special education programs if that's needed. So there's a wide variety of things.
I feel like if I don't know what to do in any aspect, whether it be the hard stuff that I'm dealing with, being 36, being on DSHS, the medical part of it, all of those things, I can call here and ask a question and not be put off. And definitely have someone who knows that when you're in a crisis mode or going through traumas, that the little things seem to be the hardest things. And she'll even make a phone call for me. And sometimes that's an incredible lift.
Our organization has had a long history and tradition and culture of focusing on resilience and recovery. Resilience is the capacity of people to spring back and to grow and to have meaningful lives even though they've had terrible challenges. Recovery is the whole concept that people who have lifelong mental illnesses, who may have lifelong psychiatric symptoms, that doesn't need to be what their lives are about. And a life can be very meaningful despite the challenges of psychiatric symptoms.
Navos took a big risk to even be willing to try to start this program because fiscally, financially, it's a real challenge to do this program. Our normal child and family therapists have 25 to 35 clients, and those of us who work with infants and their families maybe have 15 to 20. because we do so much case management. So Navos was very forward-thinking in doing this.
A lot of the research out there tells us that these are kids that if we don't intervene early with them, especially the ones that are in situations, like, for example, where they're neglected, that they're going to end up being the kinds of kids that you're going to see in juvenile detention. They're going to be in group homes later. They're going to end up costing society and all of us a lot of time and energy and money. That if you just spend a few dollars when they're younger and you really help take care of some of these things, that they end up being healthy, happy, productive members of society. They have jobs, they have families, and they're able to do the things that we all want to do with our lives.
Based on issues in my own life, I have felt like that if you don't deal with issues immediately when they come up, that they will actually become part of you and become harder to deal with down the line. So having her deal with her issues right now, right then, is actually helping me deal with mine too. And I know she's going to be fine, and I have such hope for her because kids in general are resilient. We know that. But this made it for sure.
If it weren't for Navos, there would not be widespread access to infant mental health services for this underserved population. So with more support, we could have more folks who could do infant mental health work.
I can't imagine my own life right now without Navos. It would look completely different. It would look sad. And I honestly feel like there has been such a strength given to me out of the Navos program that it would be detrimental to the community to lose this.
It would be really great if every family who has a young baby would be able to have the kind of work that we do.
Please, people, step up and give to Navos, because there are so many families going through so many crises and trauma, and the systems just are so hard to work through sometimes. Navos is different, and it needs to stay different, and it needs to be supported.